What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. I am so excited about today's episode because this is going to be addressing something that comes into our inbox very frequently, and it's in regards to wasting produce that you get from your garden. Now, wasting food is never good. Don't get me wrong. We occasionally have a few tomatoes that go bad, but it's certainly something that we try to avoid. If we have a ton of harvest that we're getting, we know we can't eat it all, we know we can't freeze it all, we'll send some to the local soup kitchen, to our friends and family. We want it to be used. We want to share the bounty and get people excited about eating fresh fruits and vegetables. But something that really has dawned on me is that there is an issue with produce and using it in a household setting. Now, if you're someone that is not very savvy in the kitchen, there is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. There are a lot of people that don't find cooking to be something that they either enjoy or that they're very good at, and that is completely fine. But what I'm here to tell you is that if you have a garden and your objective is to save more money on your food bill, feed your family healthy, nutritious, fresh fruits and vegetables and food from the garden, you need to be able to utilize the food and not waste. And one of the biggest issues we see people having is that there is a disconnect between what they're growing and what they're eating. And they say, the biggest thing that they say is, Luke, I've got this, say, arugula, but I don't know what to do with it. What can I make with arugula? Or what can arugula be used for? And what I really want to encourage you all, this episode is basically just going to be driving home the point of that you are growing a grocery store. The things you're growing in your garden should be what you enjoy buying from the grocery store or what you enjoy eating. And if you're new to gardening and you're trying this out, experimenting with things that you've never seen before can be fun, but it can lead to waste if you don't enjoy eating them. But also, seeing your food as the food that you're growing as an ingredient rather than a standalone item is, I think, the biggest key to unlocking food waste and trouble making food with what you have. You have to remember that, yes, this is food, but a lot of people see this as a question mark. If the stuff you're growing ends up as a question mark in your kitchen, that means you're looking at it all wrong. Yes, you can take salad greens and make a salad. Yes, you can take arugula and make a salad with it. But the thing is it gets boring really quickly if all you say is, I only eat salads once a week, but I got this beautiful bed of lettuce. I got this beautiful bed of arugula, but I only eat salads, once or twice a week. You should be eating salads a lot more than once a week, but that's a video for a different day. But the reason why is because you might not find salads to be enjoyable. But what if I told you there was so much more to this little bit of arugula here than what met the eye? Yes, it's a leafy green, but there is so much you can do with this leafy green besides salads. And it's by turning it into an ingredient rather than a standalone item. You see, if you take this and you say, okay, I'm gonna make a salad with it. You take a bunch of these, you throw it in a bowl, bada bing, bada boom, you've got a salad. You might throw in some kale, you might throw in some lettuce, you might throw in some Swiss chard, but you got yourself a salad. What if I told you that this is actually considered an herb in most parts of the world? Yes, that's right. Arugula, otherwise known as rocket, is actually an herb. It can be sautéed, it can be blanched, it can be juiced, it can be turned into smoothies, it can even be dried, believe it or not. Dried like basil, like parsley, rosemary, sage. It can be an herb as well, because rocket has a beautiful buttery, it actually has a buttery flavor and a buttery aroma. And it also has a peppery taste, so it's a wonderful addition to things like soups, stews, curries. It is an ingredient that can go into food, but it can also be juiced. It can be, like I said, it can be thrown in salads as well, but you can also use it and wilt it in replacement for spinach. If you're not growing spinach, but you're growing arugula, it can be used as a spinach substitute, and you can wilt it down. It's all about unlocking the potential of what you're growing rather than having it as a question mark, seeing what you can replace it for. Because so often, and I'm guilty of this, and I know Mrs. MIgardener will be the first to say that she's guilty of this, if an ingredient calls for arugula, she's going to get arugula. She's not gonna say, what do I have in what do I have at my disposal that is like arugula? I'm gonna go get arugula. And so if you don't have something in the garden, or you're out of something, or it's out of season, you don't expand your horizons, you just follow blindly what the recipe says. But if you are good at replacing things or finding like substitutes, this can be a tremendous benefit to you and your cooking abilities. Now, same thing with this kale here. I get a lot of people that say, Luke, I don't know why you grow so much kale. I don't know what to do with it. It seems like all you do is make salads with it. Well, yeah, you can destem it. You can eat it for microgreens when it's young and eat the whole leaf, or you can destem it like this and cut it up into strips. It's wonderful. But what else do we do with it? What other uses does this ingredient have? Well, you can do a few things with it. Number one, you can take the stem out, or take the center stem or vein out, right? It's pretty woody. You don't want to eat that. You can juice it though. It's got a lot of nutrients. You can cut this up and saute it. Use it as a replacement for things like collard greens. Use it as a replacement for things like wilted cabbage, or any other brassica that you would normally use. This is a brassica, so it's very replaceable for that. You can throw this in salads. You can slice this up into ribbons, saute it up, throw it with some eggs, make a good omelet in the morning. You can cut this up into strips as well, and actually use it in Asian dishes. Believe it or not, we've actually replaced seaweed with kale. Now it's really easy. You just cut it into really thin strips, and it has the exact same texture once it's blanched and boiled as like nori does. And I love it. It's amazing, and it comes from our garden. We don't have to go harvest it from the ocean or go buy it. You've got it right in your garden. It's an ingredient, and it's all about finding replacements and just kind of experimenting with what is there. Because once you realize that this has uses, you waste a lot less. We'll also juice this. We'll throw it into smoothies. There's a lot of uses for kale that is very wonderful and very, very useful. All right, so tomatoes. Now, I know this question comes up. Luke, I've got a tomato. What can I do with the tomato? Now, if you don't know what to do with the tomato, that's totally fine. But a tomato, there's probably a book out there called 1,000 Uses for Tomato. Tomatoes can be used for so many things. I think a tomato is one of the most versatile vegetables in your entire garden. You can slice it up and eat it as is. That's about the most plain use to use it for. But you can also char it and make a nice salsa. You can grind it down and make a tomato sauce. You can make a marinara sauce, a spaghetti sauce. You can make pizza sauce. You can even take that one step further, and instead of just using it like the most generic way that's very commonly seen, you can make other dishes that people have around the world, like a dish called shakshuka. I love shakshuka. It's a dish that is actually a tomato-based dish, and they blanch eggs and they have vegetables. Things like potatoes and squash and beans are inside of there. And it's a wonderful dish that is super nutritious and very, very fresh. That's shakshuka, and that's basically like a tomato base that is all your grinded up tomatoes without the skins, and then they just cook it down, reserve it down, and make a sauce with it, and then they just basically poach eggs inside of it with other vegetables. It's a wonderful, wonderful dish. You can then also take this and you can make tons of things with it. You can actually stuff these with things like meat. I believe it's turkey. They have they take lamb and they stuff it with rice, a little bit of cinnamon and ground beef or things like that. And they will actually stuff these tomatoes, and they're wonderful. I believe it's a dish over in Turkey, but I've had that in the past. It's like a Lebanese style dish, and it's so, so delicious. And so you can eat otherworldly foods with this simple tomato. It's all about just making it an ingredient, making it not a standalone item, but instead an ingredient in a bigger dish that will allow you to eat healthier, eat more food, have more fun growing stuff from the garden, but also expanding your palate as well. And like I said, a tomato has hundreds, if not thousands, of uses for a tomato. I mean, heck, one last thing I just thought of, and I just reminded myself, you can also juice tomatoes. Like V8, the old V8 juices that my aunt used to drink, like one a day. Those V8 juices, the main ingredient in that is tomato juice, and so you can even juice these. There's tons of uses for tomato. All right, and one last one for you here, because I could go on and on. In fact, a whole book could be written about stuff like this. And so, you know, I don't want to necessarily go on all of them, otherwise it'll be a 3-hour-long video. But I just wanted to kind of get the ball rolling for you so you can kind of see where my mind is at when I look from kind of what they kind of call the chef's perspective. Now, I read a lot of cooking books. I watch a lot of cooking shows. I really love cooking. It's something that I've always been passionate about. And something that chefs do is they always look at ingredients and say, how can I transform that, or what can I do with that that wouldn't just be so baseline and super expected? And so I would go as far as to say sunflower seeds. What can be done with sunflower seeds? Well, yeah, you could boil them in some salted water and then bake them, and that gives you some nice, you know, a nice chewy, salty snack that you can eat at the ballpark. Of course, you can have sunflower seeds. Yes, you can feed them to birds as well. But what if I told you you could make basically a peanut butter substitute with them? That's right. You can grind down sunflower seeds and make something that they sell in the store called sun butter. Sun butter is wonderful, and it's something you can grow yourself. You can make a peanut-free spread with sunflower seeds. You can also use them as a protein supplement. I absolutely love using them in smoothies in the morning. I'll throw some sunflower seeds in there because they're rich in vitamin E. They're rich in beneficial fats and fiber, and it's just so good to add into your food. And a lot of people just look at a sunflower seed and say, what do I do with it? You can also make a hummus with it, believe it or not. You can take the seed and grind it up, blend it up with some lemon juice, some tabbouleh, or not tabbouleh, but I just made tabbouleh last night with our parsley. With our parsley, I made tabbouleh. So yes, you don't have to use it as, you know, seasoning for a pasta sauce or whatever. Tabbouleh, it's wonderful. It's another thing for you. But tahini. Tahini is what I was talking about, is you put it with some tahini, blend it up there with a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of parsley, some black pepper. You got yourself a sunflower seed hummus. You can do that with absolutely anything. And you will want to soak them, obviously. You want to soak the seeds overnight, get them really soft, so that way they blend up easier. But you can treat them just like you would a bean. And so you can make anything that your heart contents with these sunflower seeds. You can also use them as topping on things like salads. You can, I mean, you can do so much with them that you can, what else can you do with them? You could, well, you could toast them down. You could probably ferment them, maybe even, and you could make something like a paste with them. There's a lot, like soybean pastes are really popular. You can do things maybe even like that. And I'm sure that people have fermented sunflower seed paste before and made something out of it. But there's so much that you can do. Like the Chinese, they ferment soy and they make miso out of it. And there's so much that you can do that, you know, you might think to yourself, whoa, you're fermenting sunflower seeds in water and making a paste out of it. The world is your oyster, folks. One last quick bonus one. Also, one quick bonus one here is Swiss chard. I just popped in my head here. So yeah, Swiss chard can be used as just about anything. You can wrap it up, use it as like a lettuce wrap for like your P.F. Chang lettuce wraps. Love that. But one use that I absolutely love is I take the leaves off. You can use them like spinach or whatever. But the stem here, this stem, I'll take it, I'll put peanut butter on the inside of it, or sun butter from your sunflower seeds, and then I take some raisins, I'll put the raisins on there, and I make classic ants on a log, because I'm also allergic to celery. I'm very allergic to celery and carrots, and so ever since I've been a kid, I have not eaten them. But this has the same snap, the same crunch, the same exact texture as celery. Check this out. Look at this. Beautiful. It's got the strings. All right, sorry about that. My camera died right in the middle of that last shot, and so I had to charge up my camera just so I could say thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and hopefully this inspired you all to really unlock the potential of what you're growing. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home. I'll catch you all later. See ya. Bye.